This is a cybersecurity and cryptocurrency podcast. And now, here's your host, Eric English.
Good evening and welcome to the Cybersecurity and Cryptocurrency podcast. Today is Thursday, September the 20th of 2018. Man, the year's almost done. Sneaking up on us. Got some interesting topics today, some warnings from the FBI. Also some stuff about being able to hack back, some payroll scams that are going on with hackers, and more news about the Bitcoin ETF stuff. But first, we will start with cybersecurity. The FBI came out with I love how they publish these alerts. Yes, it's good, but at the same time, it's kind of funny. The FBI warns this, or, there's all these warnings that they release. I just think it's funny. I'm just going to go start releasing my own warnings. But essentially, they're saying that there are these new attacks that are happening to various sectors of industry. It doesn't really matter. Cyber thieves are targeting payroll systems. So when they compromise an employee's account, a lot of corporations have single sign-on. And so when they've compromised that employee's account, they can do single sign-on to get into their payroll and other things as well. So what the hackers do, instead of phishing other people and sending out scam emails, they will log into that employee's payroll provider, whoever it is, ADP or whatever the payroll company is, and change the direct deposit information. But before they change the direct deposit information, they will go and set a rule on their mailbox to delete all emails coming from their payroll processor, so they never get the alert that their direct deposit address was changed, or account was changed, Therefore, the hackers can go and change the deposit address for direct deposit without the end user even knowing what happened, and next thing you know, your paycheck's going into some random checking account that you have no control over. So it's pretty scary stuff to think about. I don't even know what would happen if I saw my paycheck go somewhere else that it wasn't supposed to. I'd probably freak out. I think most people would. It's certainly scary. It's certainly something to train people on, warn people about. And, this is much more personal for the employees. Not so much when they compromise their email. They're just like, whatever, it's just my work email. I don't really care. This is way more personal. You're talking about taking over their paycheck, having their paycheck deposited somewhere else. That hits home a lot harder. And maybe this will help. I hate to say that, but maybe this will help people realize how important it is to have a good password. I don't know if it will or won't, but I'm hoping that it does, and I hope people understand that if you get phished, you need to change your password right away. It doesn't matter if you did get phished. Report it. Let IT know. Let your security team know, so that way they can take action on it. Don't just think, it's no big deal. I just got phished, but whatever. Or they think that they're going to get fired because they got phished. Some companies may fire people for getting phished. I have no idea. But in my case, I'd much rather have somebody call me and tell me, hey, Eric, I just got phished. What do I need to do? And that way we can help them. Because it happens to the best of us. It really does. These schemes are getting trickier and trickier every day. But that one's going to hit home a lot harder for a lot of other people. Taking your payroll, your direct deposit, having to go somewhere else. So I'll post the link to the FBI warning in the show notes. The next article was about U.S. cyber defenses and what the U.S. is going to start doing. They're going to start hacking back at the hackers, and I thought this was pretty interesting. If anybody's looking to get into ethical hacking or even unethical hacking or cyber defense, cyber warfare kind of work, this is a great opportunity for people trying to get into that specific field. Because now, apparently, we're going to start hacking back. And some states have laws where they will allow you to hack back. I don't think that everybody can, at least not right now. I think that would be really cool, though, to be able to hack back. The problem is, figuring out exactly who hacked you is probably harder than, the hacking back part. you have to really know what you're doing. You have to know exactly what to find. And if you release a law that says, yeah, you can hack back, people would just start hacking, anybody that they suspect hacked them first. So that could be really dangerous. But the U.S. is going to start using hackback techniques as part of our cyber defenses and hopefully take down some more of these hacker groups. We'll see. These hacker groups are pretty sophisticated, but if the U.S. gets the right people in there, we can definitely help defend our United States systems, resources, whatever it is. So I thought that was pretty cool. You get to hack back if you're working for the DOD or somebody. Maybe you'll be part of this hackback team. That would certainly be a cool job. So I'll post that article as well. Saw some other stuff about cybersecurity and how your boss doesn't care, and that's not okay anymore. And it's never been okay, but it's so true with so many different companies. Bosses don't want to budget for it. They don't care about it. They don't think about it. They don't understand it. They just think it's a bunch of techie jargon that nobody cares about. And that's the fundamental issue with cybersecurity in general, as far as educating C-level executives go. It's not just about cybersecurity, it's about risk. What is your risk appetite? What are you willing to accept the risk on? And if you're willing to accept the risk that if you get hacked, you're going to be absolutely screwed and your business might completely go under, then okay, hey, you've accepted that risk. But if you're like most people and you want to continue running a profitable business, you don't want to accept that risk. Well, guess what that means? You need to have some cyber defenses in place to protect your systems. So it's not just cyber risk, it is business risk. You could lose your credibility, you could lose customers, you could lose money, you could lose your entire business. So we got to think about it a different way. It's not just an overhead expense, it is risk. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox there. But bosses nowadays need to understand that. That's the whole point of it. And breaches are happening constantly. Every day you hear about somebody else, and if the boss doesn't seem to take any interest in it, then you guys are probably going to be next, unfortunately. But anyway, let's see if there was some other cybersecurity news. Here we go. IoT devices. Man, I think I've said it before, but hacking of IoT devices is bigger and stronger than ever. In this year alone, IoT hacking has gone up probably 60 or 70% over last year. We used to just hack systems, and then we started hacking people. Now we're going back to hacking systems, but these are just IoT devices. So we're kind of going back and forth. We still hack people too, but we're hacking these IoT devices because they're such an easy target. Hackers want an easy target, something they can compromise and do whatever they want to with, right? IoT is now the easiest target, and that's what hackers are going after. That and people, obviously. But, it's just a scary number to see that IoT is getting so much press about how hackable it is and all these botnets that are created with it and crypto mining campaigns on IoT devices. It's scary to think about. And I don't think anybody really cares. It's just kind of weird. Everybody's just like, yeah, whatever. It's just my smart refrigerator. I don't care. Well, we need to start caring. I mean, especially if you're running a business with a bunch of these IoT devices, segment that stuff off. If you can, put it on its own separate network. That way, if it does get hacked, they can't get to anything else. But these manufacturers in China, they're making cheaper versions of whatever smart bulbs and smart sockets and smart whatever, and they're selling it cheaper and writing code that's extremely unsecured, and away you go. You send that out to the masses. It's cheap, so people buy it, and next thing you know, it's getting hacked constantly. So it's really a shame how much it does get hacked, because it's such cool technology is coming out of it, but it's extremely hackable, and just really scary to see the rise of hacking on IoT devices. But it's just going to continue as we get more and more smart home stuff. It's just going to get worse until the manufacturers get serious about, securing their IoT software, their code, making sure the hardware is secure, everything like that. That may be a while before we get to that point, but that's what it's going to take. So next time you're looking at some cheap IoT smart bulbs or something, you might want to look again at some of the more expensive stuff if you don't want to have your smart bulb being used in a DDoS attack or as part of a botnet or whatever. So keep that in mind when you're buying your IoT stuff, for sure. Jumping over to cryptocurrency news, Coinbase was disputing all the claims from the attorney generals that I was reporting on yesterday, talking about how the exchanges are manipulating things and yada, yada, yada. Well, Coinbase fired back and said, no, that's not true, because the U.S. Attorney General did their audit on Coinbase and a couple others that voluntarily allowed it. And so Coinbase is coming back and firing back and saying, no, that's not true, and here's why. And so that was kind of some big fighting going on there with the Attorney General and Coinbase. I thought that was interesting. I'll post that article to the show notes. What was the other one here? The masternodes, going back to that topic, there's a whole bunch of services now that allow you to spin up these masternodes in their services. One in particular is called, now I'm going to blank on the name of it, Armageddon is what it was called. And they basically allow you to spin up these VMs that are pre-configured for whatever masternode coin you're going to host. And you pay a small fee to host that masternode per month, and you're done. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool services there. I'll post a link to some of those services as well so everybody can check that out. But I thought that was pretty cool. Bitcoin ETF is back in front and center stage again today. The SEC is going through all the proposals again to see if they're going to approve any of these. So watch out, that Bitcoin price may start jumping up or down depending on the news of these ETFs coming out. There was a PDF published, I believe it was by the SEC, and I'll post the link to that PDF. You guys can read all the things that they're talking about approving, but I certainly thought it was cool. I'm glad that they're already rehashing this out. It hasn't been very long since they postponed and then rejected, so they're right back at it. So I think eventually it will get approved. It's just a matter of convincing the SEC that this is the right way and this is how we're going to do it, and making sure everybody understands every bit of it so that the SEC is on board with it. But I think if the SEC is coming back this quick and already reevaluating it, they're serious about it, and it'll eventually get pushed through. It's just a matter of time at this point. But I'll post the link to that PDF so you guys can read that too if you're interested in that. But no decision was made today, at least not at the time of this podcast. They were just still discussing it right now. So might have some new news on that tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. That's all I had for today, folks. I want to thank everybody for listening. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at eEnglish34. On Twitter, at eEnglish34. You can follow me on there. And tomorrow's Friday, so hopefully it's going to be a good Friday, and we'll do another podcast tomorrow. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk again tomorrow.